Preparations prior to seed collection. Once you've chosen the type of seed and location for the collection and have organized the participants, develop a specific plan. Firstly, create a schedule for the collection. The plan should be created considering the flowering season and fruiting season. And it should not only include the timeline for the collection, but the timeline for the preparation as well. Choosing the collection time. In general, seeds should be collected when they are naturally dispersed, and if it's too early, you will collect immature seeds. And if it's too late, the seeds may already be dispersed or they may no longer be viable. The most appropriate period for seed collection varies from species to species. And even when it's the same species, it can vary depending on the natural environment, such as the climatic zone or altitude. Thus, the target species should be regularly monitored and the collection period should be flexible. Preparing the schedule. The schedule plan for a seed collection is divided into two. Create a schedule for the plant's flowering and fruiting season for each location and each species so that seeds can be collected at the appropriate time. Also, prepare a schedule related to external activities for the collection so you won't miss any preparations for those activities. Reviewing permissions. Seed collection should comply with international, regional, and domestic laws on biodiversity, such as the Convention of Biodiversity and the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora. In the case of joint collection, a formal agreement should be signed with the corresponding organization, and the collection should be conducted in a cooperative manner based on the principle of joint benefit. Illegal purchases, imports, and collections are prohibited. In the case of special protected species, the collection must be carried out after obtaining permission in accordance with the relevant law, and in the case of protected areas, you must obtain permission from the organization in charge before conducting the collection. In the case of overseas collection, you must get the corresponding country's permission, export permission, and quarantine certificate. When introducing a seed or plant into Korea, you must check the import prohibited plants list based on the domestic laws and check if they are included in the import permitted weeds list. Items needed for a collection. The type and number of tools needed for a seed collection can vary depending on the purpose of collection, target species, location, and time. Due to various collection methods based on the character of the seeds, the collection method must be decided after discussing tools, transportation, and storage. You can go with a small amount of tools for a short-term collection in a domestic area, but you need to carefully prepare in the case of a long-term collection in both domestic and international locations. When you go on a long-distance collection trip of more than 5 days within a 10-day period, consider collection, desiccation, and arrangement at a local place. And it's important to decide on the types and amount of collection tools needed. Seed collection activity requires the essential tools such as a seed net, excavating shovel, trowel, pruning scissors, shears, backpack, bag, and map, as well as support tools such as paper bags, telescope, magnifier, homie, pole saw, and cooler. Recording tools such as a GPS receiver, batteries, camera, compass, field notebook, tracking table, pens, and pencils are also required. Safety gear such as hiking boots, clothing for outdoor work, vest, protective gloves, hat, raincoat, safety rope, external battery for cell phone, lantern, and first aid supplies are necessary. Collecting and preserving tools for samples such as plastic bags, newspapers, field notebook, and spill pads are needed. Seed desiccants like silica gel are required. Collecting tools. Well-ventilated seed bags or paper bags are suitable collection containers. An excavating shovel or trowel is used for collecting roots or bulbs. and pruning scissors are used for cutting roots or stems of plants. Shears or pole saw is used for collecting plants located in high places. Backpack and bags are used for transporting the collection, and a map is needed to recognize the geography of collecting areas. 1/25,000th or 1/5000th scale topographic map is appropriate. The narrow and pointed blades of a homie or hoe are useful, especially when you collect epiphytes like Gramineae or Cyperaceae, plants that grow among big roots. Telescope and magnifier are used when you observe water pipes or plant motif, and a cooler is used when you store and transport biological samples. A GPS receiver is used for recording longitude and latitude information of the collection location. A camera is used for collecting image and sound data. A field notebook and tracking table are used for recording the information about the seeds, samples, and habitat. If you bring various sized plastic bags, you'll find them helpful for transporting samples and covering roots after collecting. You can press plants with newspapers, field books, and spill pads on site to fabricate a sample. And silica gel is used for drying a wet sample on site. Safety gear and safety management. In the case of outdoor seed collection, people should work in groups of at least 2 in case of safety issues. Safety gear needs to be prepared. When you go on a field trip, prepare basic first aid supplies for possible emergencies and check locations of nearby pharmacies and hospitals in advance. Every individual possesses glucose and salt against dehydration and repellent against bites and stings from bees, mosquitoes, and ticks. In adverse weather conditions, it's better to stay indoors and arrange collection material or discuss collection schedule and location rather than working outside. People must work in groups of 2 during outdoor activities and avoid hazardous areas to prevent falling accidents. If an accident occurs, inform each other and the victim's emergency contact and report it to the institution after treatment is received. If you are stung by a bee and the stinger remains, remove it with a credit card or coin and go to a nearby hospital. If you are bitten by a snake, tightly tie a handkerchief 5 to 10 centimeters above the bite and go straight to a hospital. Request travel expenses in accordance with the institution's policy and carefully keep receipts and documents that are necessary to receive reimbursement. That wraps it up for preparation items and tools for seed collection.